Grade 11 Business Studies, Term 2, Lesson 4. This lesson is also on the marketing function and it is on pricing policy. In the first lesson, we spoke about the marketing activities and the product policy. We are now going to deal with the pricing policy. This work you can find in your Gauteng Department of Education notes, chapter 10, as well as your textbook, pages 114 to 120. What you will learn in this lesson on pricing policy: first, you need to define or explain the meaning of price, discuss, explain the importance of pricing, outline, mention, or explain and discuss the pricing techniques. So there are 9. And identify the above-mentioned pricing techniques from given scenarios, statements, quote from the scenario to support your answer. You need to be able to outline, mention, explain, discuss the factors that influence pricing, and identify these factors from given scenarios and statements. Also quote from the scenarios to support your answer. So first we're going to look at the pricing policy. The price of a product refers to the amount of money that must be paid by the buyer to experience the benefits of the product. The pricing policy specifies what and how the business will work out the pricing of its products. I've attached a lesson on the pricing policy and also the YouTube link if you cannot open the video, and it will be good if you watch it. The importance of pricing. Pricing affects the number of products that an enterprise is able to sell, which in turn affects how much profit you will make in the end of the day. The price of a product can also influence your customer's attitude towards your product or your brand. If the price is too high, then fewer consumers may want to buy your product. Whereas if the price is too low, then consumers will maybe perceive your product as of poor quality. The pricing policy should explain when and to whom discounts will be granted. The price of a product must make provision for transport costs and for value-added tax. We are now going to look at the 9 different pricing techniques. We are now going to look at the 9 different types of pricing techniques that you can use in your business. First, we're going to look at cost-based pricing. This is widely used in retailing, and it's also known as markup pricing, which is your second pricing technique listed under the 9. So you look at the cost to produce 1 unit, and then you add a profit markup to it. So it is solely based on the cost to produce one product. So let us say it costs you 10 Rand to produce 1 unit, and you want to make 100% profit, then you will add 100% markup to that. So it's solely based on how much your product cost you to be made. That is how you determine your end price. Then we have markup pricing, and it is, like I said, it's also known cost-based pricing. And at markup pricing, you use a set percentage of profit. You will see in accounting we use the markup pricing technique where they say cost price is 10 Rand and the markup on the cost price is 20%. Then you have to calculate the sales price, for instance. Now that is the markup pricing. Then we have customer or target-based pricing. And this is a strategy in which a company sets pricing according to the customer's perceived value of its products and services. So if the customer perceives, if you are, let's say you produce cakes and you are a cake boutique, a very fancy cake boutique, and one of Cake Boss's bakers work for you, then obviously based on what the customer sees your business as, very prestigious, then you can add very high prices to your cakes. Then we have competitor-based or competition-based pricing. And competition-based pricing is obviously based on your competitor's price. So you will obviously look at what your competitor asks for the product, and then you will either charge a lower price or you will charge a higher price. But you must remember that if your price is set higher than that of your competitors, then the customers will think that your product is of better value. So usually when you make use of competition-based pricing, you will set your pricing higher than that of a competitor so that people think that your product is of better value. Then we have promotional pricing. Promotional pricing is solely used to attract customers, and it's usually only used for a short period of time. So you will see promotions like buy one, get one free, and that is just to obviously attract the customers to buy the product. Then we have penetration pricing, and this is normally when a new product gets introduced to a market. Then a new product that you have developed or something that has been imported into the country that has never been sold before, then you will set it at a very low price in order to attract your customers and in order to penetrate the market. And then after that introduction period, the price will increase again. Then we have psychological pricing. Now, psychological pricing is when you want customers to react emotionally rather than rationally to your price. So instead of charging 700 Rand for your heater, you will now charge 695 Rand for your heater because it looks better than 700 Rand. So emotionally, your customers will see it as cheaper than 700 Rand. So that is psychological pricing. Or 9 Rand 99 and not 10 Rand. Okay, then we have bait pricing. Now, bait pricing is you advertise a product for very low. And then when the customers come to your shop and they want to buy that product, you show them all the disadvantages that that product has. And then you tell them, you know what, if I were you, I would rather buy this product because it is better than the one that is on promotion. And then at the end of the day, the customers end up buying the more expensive product. So it is basically it's like a bait that you hold in front of them, and then they come to your shop and then they buy other products and not the one that was on promotion. Okay, so then we have price skimming. Price skimming is when a new product enters the market, the price is set very high to test demand. So the sole purpose of price skimming is to test demand for your product. So now if your price is set very high, then it shows that this product is prestigious and it's unique. So then obviously the customers will want to buy it. And then as your products gain popularity in the market, then you gradually decrease the price. And it's only successful in the short term, this specific technique. Okay, so here are the 9 pricing techniques explained. Next, we're going to look at the factors that influence pricing. First and foremost, input costs. The higher your input costs is everything involved, all the prices or the costs involved in producing your product. The higher that is, the higher your product must cost at the end of the day in order to make up for that, in order to help you to make a profit. So the higher the input costs, the higher your costs in general at the end of the day, or your prices. Then, demand for the product. The higher the demand for your product, the more needs to be produced. And the more that needs to be produced, the less the cost per unit will be. And therefore, the lower the price at the end of the day. Then your target market. You need to determine what the income is of your target market. If it's a low socioeconomic group, then obviously your prices need to be low. If it's a high socioeconomic group that is your target market, then you can set higher prices. So you need to look at the income of your target market. Then the type of product. Obviously, prestigious products or brand products will be the price will be higher than normal products. If it's a specialty product, then obviously you need to charge more. Pricing technique used will also determine your price. Competitive and substitute products. If the price of the substitute decreases, then people will rather opt to buy the substitute than your product. So therefore, you need to keep a close eye on your substitute products, what their prices are doing, as well as your competitors, in order to determine the correct price for your product. The economic climate and the availability of products will also determine your price. If scarcity of products, if your product that you sell becomes scarce, then obviously people will be willing to pay more for that specific product. Then the forms of markets also determines the prices. The different markets, the different types of markets that we get is the perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. Perfect competition is where there are many buyers and sellers, and they compete against one another. For example, shares being traded on the JSE. Then a monopolistic competition is when there are many suppliers or sellers. So each supplier has his or her own brand of a particular product. For example, the different car dealers. They all sell cars, but they sell it under their own brand. Then an oligopoly is only a few suppliers or sellers control the prices of the products. And products are usually the same. And that is like MTN, Vodacom, Cell C. They're all part of the cell phone industry. And there's only a few of them that we can choose from. And then monopoly, where there's only one supplier that controls the market. For example, Eskom. And usually the profit margins are set very high because consumers do not have any alternative than to use that specific supplier. And that is all for this lesson. In the next lesson, we will speak about the distribution policy. Thank you.